Today I'd like to review with you guys the HiBrew H10 Plus. It's this little number right here. This little espresso machine packs a lot of features for the price that you pay. I have covered this machine before in the previous version, the H10A, and it's very, very similar from the design. This does include a few new features, and we're gonna go over that in just a moment. What really hasn't changed is the fact that this machine is super light. I can lift it up with just my pinky like that. But again, as I mentioned, it packs a lot of features. But let's have a look at it just from all sides. Here's the water tank. Does not include, as far as I know, any kind of low water sensor. That's too bad. Anyway, here's the front of the machine. We'll turn it on in just a moment. It's got a display here to show you the PID temperature, for example. It's also got a shot timer and a steam timer, which is really nice. It's got a manometer on there, and this time it also includes bar markings, which is really a nice thing. And it's got just a few buttons on here to turn it on and off, to start your shots, to engage steam mode. So let's have a look at the side of the machine. On the side, we got this little dinky lever here. And while I do like having a lever that's much nicer from a haptic standpoint to engage the steam, it is really wobbly. And that's a little unfortunate. But again, you have to keep in mind the price you're paying for this thing. You've also got a stainless steel steam wand here, which does articulate like that. It doesn't have like a whole lot of range, but it's good enough. And you can get good steam with it. Yeah, this is the back of the machine here. And finally, the other side. Not really too much more to say about the machine. But let's do a quick comparison to its earlier brother. And before we do that, it does also come with a couple of nice accessories. Last time it did as well, but this time it comes with a little bit thinner of a base here on the tamper. I do like that quite a bit. It's got a wooden part for handling here on the top that screws in. I do like using this. It is the rippled base and it looks cool when you're preparing your puck. Also it comes with this nice like pearlescent white milk pitcher, 450 milliliters. I do quite like using this. It's a good shape, good design in my opinion, and looks nice in that paint. All right, having a look between the two, this is the earlier model, this is the new model, the Plus one. You can tell there's a couple of slight differences. They look really pretty much the same, but you got a different actuation for steam here on the sides. Also, something quite obvious is the fact that you've got a different kind of drip tray on the older one. So the drip tray was just this little guy on the original model, and it was hollow. That's kind of weird. Also, the shower plate was a little different on the original model. The shower plate is an upgraded model on the new H10 Plus. And what I do quite like is that it's got a much nicer kind of drip tray that you can pull out, kind of like you would expect. And that's what it looks like. So now you've got actually a standard drip tray. And I think part of the reason for that is that the new model does include a 3-way solenoid valve to release the pressure off the puck after the extraction. What else you're going to notice is that on the older model, it was brushed stainless casing all around. And here it is, it looks like it's a polished finish on the newer one. Now they both included PIDs inside on the thermal block. But the newer model has apparently got a different kind of pump. This is an Ulca pump inside here, at least advertised. I haven't checked. The older one, I'm not that sure. It's kind of buried down in the back. But what I gotta mention about both of these is that the build inside, while it's got some positives, it's also got some negatives. So it's nice that you've got the 3-way solenoid. It's nice that you got a brass fitting here for the mechanical valve here for your steam wand. It's got some record fittings with clips, which are easy to remove, and that's also nice. What I don't like on either of these models is the fact that in the back, the electronics are really exposed. I would expect them to be encased in some kind of plastic casing. That is something that I think is certainly a minus point for both of these machines. On the plus side, if you need to get inside to do anything, it is easy. It's just 2 screws in the back and 2 screws here on the front, and you can lift off the top plate. So entry into the machine is easy.
Getting value from this video? Please take a moment to like and subscribe.
Now let's turn the machine on and see how long it needs to heat up. And while we're doing that, let's talk about the portafilters. So another thing that people are really going to like about this machine is that it comes with 58mm portafilters. I'm using the double basket non-pressurized that it comes with. And you'll notice that it's got 3 tabs, 1, 2, 3. And what that means is it's not that easy to find third-party portafilters, bottomless to put inside here. You can order these off the internet directly from HiBrew. And that brings me to my next point. Disclaimer, HiBrew did send me this machine for review. With that being said, I'm going to give my honest opinions nonetheless of the machine. Now, inserting the portafilter is quite easy. The one that comes with the machine, as you can see there, it's just a little stiff in the beginning, but it's not bad. The bottomless one is a really tight fit though. I mean, I really feel like I almost might, break that sucker. So keep that in mind if you do buy the bottomless. It is really, really stiff. All right, we're up to temperature. And I got it set at 91 degrees because I am using kind of a darker roast here. So that's where I've got it set now. I did set it up to 95 before for a lighter roast, and it did a good job on that. Brought out the fruity notes without the displeasant sourness, so it brings a nice acidity that you want. And it's done quite a good job for me for shots. Now, on my original video of the H10A, I went through all of the settings, and so it shows you on that video how to set up the temperature. It's pretty easy to do. I do find the machine to be quite intuitive, and that's a nice thing. On this newer machine, there's an additional setting, however. If you hold down the power and the 1-cup button for a few seconds, you can choose between L2, L1, and H. So I usually keep it on L2, which is a lower pressure. H likes to shoot up all the way to 15 or so. The L2 will try to get right around 8 or 9 bars, and the L1 is somewhere in between. So I just leave mine set, honestly, at the lower of those 3 pressures. All right, so let's go ahead and prepare our puck with this pretty dark roast. I am gonna do just a little bit of WD-T to break up the clumps and have it distributed nicely. And let's try out this cool tamper here. Now, I do quite like the tamper, as I mentioned, from an ergonomic standpoint. It's just kind of nice to use. And that is what the puck looks like right there. Now, what is a little unfortunate is there's really not much space here. Basically just the width of my hand, and therefore I cannot fit a scale plus an espresso cup. It just doesn't work. So I'm gonna tear out my scale here and put this under the machine. All right, now before starting with this shot, I did run 2 empty shots through the machine because the portafilter otherwise would be cold and it would suck the heat out of the espresso. And that is not what you want. You want the whole circuit inside to be primed with hot water as well as the portafilter, and that's gonna give you the best, most consistent results. So let's see what we get. I do really like the fact that it's got a timer on here. 21 seconds, 20, okay. So we got some nice crema on there because I'm using nice fresh beans and I'm using a good grind. You see I did spill a little because this is kind of a narrow cup and these double spouts, they do go out pretty far, but let's give it a taste. It's a pleasant shot, and I've been getting shots from this machine to give me a pretty good balance as long as the machine, including the portafilter, have been warmed up. Good body from it, pretty good flavors. This one is, as I mentioned, a dark bean, so all I can really get out of it is, some certain chocolate notes, almost like a burnt almond even in there, because these are really quite dark. But the machine itself, for me, has done a good job. And it's really nice that you can adjust the temperature as you want, so you can adjust it down low for a darker roast, or you can raise it up for a lighter roast. All right, so let's see what the steaming looks like. What I do like a lot is the fact that it's got a timer on there. It's just another piece of information for you. And by the way, you hear that meh, meh, meh. So people are often asking, what is that sound? So for every thermal block, whether it's a Dallmayr or Sage, or in this case the HiBrew, it's got to send just a little shot of water to the heater to get flash heated to turn into steam. And that's what that sound is. It's plenty hot. And how much should we add? 18 grams. So that's not bad. It's actually pretty good. Not too much water added. And we did get nice creamy milk here. Let's see if we can get a design. Okay, and we got a pretty nice little stacked tulip design there, made possible by the HiBrew. So you can definitely get good milk steam with this machine. Good enough for sure to practice your latte art. What is something to keep in mind, however, is unlike many other machines, this machine does not cool itself off automatically. So you have to deselect the steam mode like that, and then you have to open up the steam valve to let out the water to cool down the thermal block. Okay, all cooled off. And how is this tasty looking cappuccino? That is delightful. When you get the milk that creamy, you bring out the sweetness in the milk and that silkiness as texture on your tongue, and it is just delightful. All right, so closing thoughts on the HiBrew H10 Plus. What do I think about it, and who could this machine be for? So first of all, in comparison to the previous one, the H10, this machine has got some nice features, including the 3-way solenoid. It's got a little bit nicer actuation here for the steam wand, although it is wobbly. It's interesting that you can play with the pressures a little bit based on the pressure setting that you have active. And the drip tray is much better. I also like very much the accessories that it comes with. I'm quite a fan of this tamper. And I really do like this milk pitcher. Works great, and it looks really handsome, in my opinion. With all that being said, you would have to buy this extra, and this would afford you a couple extra centimeters. So you're actually getting 3.3 centimeters more space with the bottomless. So for that reason, it would be nicer to have the bottomless, but it doesn't come with it. And with that being the case, you really don't have a whole lot of space here for your cups, which is a little unfortunate. Then you gotta think a little bit about price. So this unit costs, with these accessories here, $400 or 400 euros. And for that money, you could get something like the Gage Classic Pro, or you could get the Bambino Plus. So two brands which are much more established than is the HiBrew. But of course, those don't come with a milk pitcher or with a tamper. So it does still provide, I think, a pretty good value, but you don't know about longevity. So this brand has not been around that long yet, and you're going to have to decide for yourself what's more interesting for you in regards to price, in regards to longevity, in regards to heritage. But yeah, that's that, the HiBrew H10 Plus. I know a lot of people have been interested to see a little bit more about this machine. I hope that this video was helpful for you. And if so, give it a like. Until next time, I say happy coffee drinking and happy espresso drinking. Bye now.